In this video we will look how separate windows can communicate with each others, because there are many ways they can communicate with each others, and I know at least 3 ways like these ones. If you know more than that, please you can comment on the comment section and let me know. So we are doing these 3 today. The first way they can communicate, they can call directly each others. So let's say that the button is let me make it a little bit smaller. Okay, like that. Let's say that the button is calling. A button is calling like this. So the first thing will be something like that the button is calling, for example, the view, that view dot foo, do something, foo, just calling like that. The second way they can communicate is that they can send a Windows API message, something like this, that in a button we will call send message, and then we will ask the views window handle, handle somehow, and then we will put some parameters, and yeah, so we will send the Windows message to this view. And then we can obviously send a post message, also the same thing, but we're just posting it instead of sending it. And we will be talking about all these differences between these 3. So this is what we are doing today. And I will I've already done the final product, so I'm gonna copy paste actually code as we go, and I will now show this will be the final product. This might be some kind of program in your company. You need to create some kind of that you have some kind of rectangles here, and when you press the button you get the button, when you press that rectangle you get this button, and you put that information. In this case I'm putting the information of the mouse click, like for example here I'm clicking 5616, the coordinate of the click, and here I'm clicking 139 200. So I'm just putting that coordinate just to illustrate that we can send stuff into that button. And when I click here, it disappears. And if I right click, now we get an edit box, and I can actually change this. Quite cool, isn't it? So we can have an edit box and do whatever we want to do here. London, and yeah, like that. And I'm also putting that coordinate there just to illustrate how to send data to these things. And one more thing, that we will press this and we get this message box, and the coordinate goes there and nicely pressed, and like that. Okay, so this is the final product. Just to illustrate how this. So this is button window, which is communicating with this view window. So the white window behind this is a view window, and now this is an edit window. And now the edit window can communicate with the view the same way. Okay, so let's start cracking now, and this will be the final result. Let's see if we can do this now. Second time. So is this the, yeah, this is gonna be the empty project. Now this is SDI project. SDI project. Where's my let me put it here. So this is a SDI project, okay, and I have done video before how to create an SDI project. It takes only a couple of minutes, but I'm not going to repeat it here, so you can go and look my older videos how to do that. So assuming that you have already created SDI project, so we will continue from there now. So first let's create those. Let's create now first these rectangles. That might be a good starting point, so to speak. So how do we do that? We need to create some kind of function called create rectangles first. So let me copy that code. So we're gonna go to the view class, and it's gonna be private section, I think. I'm gonna put that private at the top here. That's always the discussion, that where does it belong. I actually like the private to be at the bottom, but in this case let me put it here at the top. So create rectangles, and then we're gonna go to the implementation file, and somewhere here gonna create that thing over there, and let's go and create those. So now this is challenging, isn't it, that how do you create those? What is the mathematics behind that, isn't it? That's an interesting question. So I'm gonna just show one by one my logic this time. Everybody has their own way. So first I'm gonna create the point, the MFC point, like XY point. So this will be the top left position of that group. So that's gonna be that point over there. Okay. And next thing we're gonna next variable we will create in order to make this thing easy. We will define the vertical space. Now the vertical space will be space between the rectangles, this one, and this one, and this one. So let's define it 5 pixels. These are pixels, by the way. And the third parameter we want to define here will be size of the rectangle, obviously, isn't it? So C size is MFC size class, which defines CX, CY members, like this. Oops, CX. Yeah, you can see CX, CY members. It's like a point, but it just has those CX things there. Okay, and the size of the rectangle will be, from this picture, it will be obviously, this is CY and this is CX. Okay. It's quite straightforward, so I recommend everybody to do like this. So first create the variables required in the calculations and then start doing the calculation. This is a good way to do things, in my opinion. So let's create first the foundation of the calculations, and then we will use these to do the job. So it's easy to then change everything here. Like if you want more space, we can always change that. So let's just create a for loop here, and me being lazy, I'm just gonna copy it from here. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit lazy now, just copy stuff. Okay, so there's a for loop. We start from 0. We could also start from 1, but let's start from 0, and then we go all the way. We go 5 times, and then we need to create the rectangle which defines where we're gonna draw that thing. We will let me copy it one line by line. So this is a rectangle. Rectangle is top left, bottom right. Okay, so you can see bottom, where is it? Okay, they are not in order, but it's left, top, bottom, right. It has 4 integer values defining the rectangle. So left, top, bottom, right. So this point and this point, that's what that rectangle defines. So let's first define the left hand side of the, it will be the first box, isn't it? Because we are looping. So now we are defining the rectangle of the first box. Okay, so the left coordinate will be the group left, obviously, the group left X. Okay, and this X is always the same for all the boxes, obviously, because the X doesn't change. The X will be the same here. So we just take that's simple, just take the definition X, and then next we're gonna do the top. Well, the top will be always obviously this coordinate here, and let's see what it should be. It should be the group. We start from the group again, from the group top left, and it will be the top, which is Y. So it will be this coordinate, that's the Y, plus I multiplied by the size of the rectangle. So because let's say that we want to look at the second one, so we need to go down this much, obviously, and then this much. So we will go the width of this one plus this one, and we will go there. So let's say that we want to know the rectangle of the second one, for example. To know this y coordinate, we need to go from here. So the height of this box once plus then the space, and there we are. So y and how many, what's the order number of the box multiplied by the height of the rectangle plus the spaces between. So am I explaining too much? I don't know. Sorry guys, I'm sometimes explaining too much, and that's the, but I don't know how many beginners and how many experts are listening, so I'm just gonna, so the right hand side of the box will obviously be, it will be now why do I have it like this? Oh, sorry, of course. So it will be the rectangle left. Yeah, the calculated rectangle left, which is actually the same as this one. But I'm just doing the rectangle left plus the width of the rectangle. It's that simple. It's the position of this left hand side plus the width of the rectangle, which we defined here. And then lastly, the bottom will be obviously, the bottom will be the currently calculated top, because we already, let's say that we are here, okay, we already calculated the top, so it will be the top plus the height of the box. That's that simple, isn't it? So it's the top plus the height of the box, each rectangle. Okay, and then okay, we're gonna have 5 of those boxes, so I decided to have a vector to store all the boxes, all the rectangles of the boxes. I will store them in a vector. So in order to do that, I always struggle to say that in order to do that. Sorry guys, my English is not so good. So let's go back. So we need to have that, that vector. And if we want to have a vector, we need to say include vector. Okay, so we will create five items in a vector. So we're gonna do the pushback here. We're gonna push back this new rectangle over there. We're gonna make a copy of this rectangle and push it into the array. Okay. That's done. It's that simple actually. Yeah, that's done. So what do we need to do next? Now next we need to check that, because when we are going here, we need to look at the left. I'm pressing left mouse button. Now let's do the left mouse button first. So I'm pressing the left mouse button. So we need to get the Windows message for the left hand button. So the way to do is, I've done this in many other videos, so let's do it one more time. So we go to the class view, and then you go here, and then you select the window or view where you want to do that, and then we go here, and you can say properties, and you get this one here, and then we're gonna go to the messages, Windows messages. They're Windows messages actually. So and there's gonna be left hand button down. Let's put left hand button down, and it's gonna push that thing automatically there. We're gonna have the right hand side side button also, isn't it? So let's put it also there straight away. That's gonna be R button. There's R button up, R button down there. So I'm gonna add that as well. So we have both of them now ready. But let's do the left button first. First things first. Let's not go too fast. So we're gonna. So when we press the left button, it will go here. This is the message handler for that Windows message, so to speak. So let me go and check what we need to do there. So, yep. So now we need to create a function to check that did we hit any of those rectangles. Okay, we have 5 rectangles now, nicely. But now we need to create a new function testing that did we hit any of them and which one we hit and so on. Okay, so I'm gonna call it for example, let me remove that because I'm doing a little bit more here, so I'm making it a little bit more simple first. So I'm gonna call it rectangle hit. We're just checking if it hit one of the rectangles. Okay. And now let's start creating that function. And the implementation will be going over here. Okay. So there's a body, but let's talk about that body later. The body will be the button and the edit box, but let's talk about that later on. So there's the rectangle hit function, which we're gonna call, which is gonna check which button, which rectangle it hit, and we will do the action after that. So the first thing we need to do here is that we need to find out that which rectangle the mouse point hit. Find the rectangle which was hit. So how do we find it? That's a question for everybody now who is listening. Here is a vector of rectangles, and 5 of them. How do we find if this one hit one of them? 5, 4, 3, 2. Timeout. Okay, the answer is coming. I think personally, actually, this is the best C++ way to do it, and we can argue about that in the comment section. But yeah, let's just use the findIf. Quite cool, isn't it? So using the standard library findIf, we're gonna find out which rectangle was hit. So findIf is looping the vector from beginning to the end, and this is the condition we are checking. And when the condition is met, I mean this one, when this condition is met, the findIf stops and it will return an iterator or kind of pointer pointing to that rectangle. So let's see what is here. We are taking, this is the lambda function checking that when did we find what we are looking for, find what I'm looking for. So we are passing this point by reference into this lambda, and on each round this rectangle will put the current rectangle there. On the first round this will be pointing to the first rectangle, and on the second loop round this rect here is pointing to the second rectangle. Okay, and when this one returns through, at that point the find stops and it will return a pointer pointing to this guy where it stopped. I hope I explained this very well now. So the ending condition for this lambda here is that now the MFC rectangle has a function called pointInRect. So we are checking if this point, this left hand button point, if that point is inside the rectangle, and that's exactly what we are looking for. So this is very easy. We have this nice function in MFC which is checking that. So, and then this one will be pointing now to that rectangle. Okay, and how did we check? And obviously, if we did not hit any of the rectangles, this would be pointing according to the standard library. It will be pointing to the end of the vector. Okay, so we need to check that next. That did we hit any of the rectangles? So this is the way to check it. We're checking that if it's not end of the vector, that means actually one pass of the last element is end, isn't it? So if it's not end of the vector, then we hit one of the rectangles. We hit one of the rectangles. Okay, and then we can start doing stuff. Now, well, we can just test this quickly. How about that? So it's just let's test it. Why not? AFX message box. Let's put quick message box here. These characters are white characters, so we need to put that one over that. Okay, and just say hit. Okay, and let's compile first time. Let's run this now. So if it hit one of the rectangles, it will show the message box there. So because we are not drawing the rectangles. Sorry guys, we need to draw them first. So let's draw the rectangles first, so we will see actually something. So it goes here. The drawing code goes here. So let me go and find the drawing code. That should be pretty straightforward. draw the rectangle. So we need to have a function called draw rectangles next, so we can see them actually. In order to do that, I will go here and draw rectangles, and then let's go back here, and there's the draw function. So I'm gonna just put it above that. So this onDraw can call this one to ask to draw the rectangles. So we need to open this device context pointer, which is used to draw stuff. So we're just gonna simply pass the call there in here. You don't want to do any drawing code here, by the way, because each function will be doing only one thing. So we're just passing. We could draw it here, but it's better to create that function to do that. So let's just pass that there. Okay, and here we're gonna create the code to draw all the rectangles. The first thing we need to do is that we need to create a pen, nice pen. So I'm creating a blue pen, a solid blue pen actually. I'm creating a pen which is we are using this pen to draw the rectangles. Solid pen. This is the size of the pen, and red, green, blue. So we want total blue. If you want red, you will put here 250 something. Okay. And next thing we need to do is that we need to select this new pen onto the device context. This is the device context used to do all the drawing stuff. So here I'm selecting this pen. I'm passing the pointer of the pen to the device context. I'm selecting this pen onto the device context, and I'm saving the old pen which was used before we came here, because we need to put back the old pen after we finished. That's the logic here always. In MFC we need to put the old pen back after you finish drawing. And now we need to loop all the rectangles. And I can see actually that we can use the new for loop here. We can say auto and is it a reference, and that's gonna be the rectangle. And then we can loop all the rectangles, or rather this one. So we can loop it using the new for loop, and then we can just say here that my old code I have here. Sorry, just copy that code from there. Oh, wrong place. Yeah, so this is going to be the one of the rectangles. So we can just say here, is it a reference? Oh, sorry. No, device context. What am I doing? We need to draw onto the device context. So I'm saying device context, please draw me a rectangle, and this kind of rectangle, and it's not the eye, it's that one directly. So we want to draw this rectangle, and we're gonna draw 5 of them total. And then at the end we need to call back the we need to put back the old pen like that. Remember, we select a new pen on the device context. We need to put back the old pen when we finished. So this is gonna draw the rectangles, and let's compile and run. Control F5, and there's nothing there. And why is that? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? Draw rectangle. That's the wrong. I'm not calling this create rectangle anywhere. So we can call it in the view constructor function. When we create the view, we can immediately create all of them because they don't have any window specific stuff. this is just data, like integers, so we can create them straight away here. And let's compile now. Okay, and Control F5, run. And voila, here we have all those rectangles. Now if I press one of the, I'm clicking here, click, 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 and I'm clicking here. Oh, didn't work. Well, probably it doesn't work because I'm not calling that. I'm not calling that hit test function, right? Where's the hit test function? Yeah, so the rectangle hit function, we need to call it from the L button down here, from here. So I'm gonna call it from here, and that is the point. That's the point which is telling the coordinates of the left button click. Okay, so compile and run. Click, click, click. Voila! So there we are. So now it's, if I'm hitting in the middle, yeah, middle, click, 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 nothing, and then we go there. Okay, so let's continue now. So what is the next thing what we're gonna do? Let me drink something. Okay, so now let's create now the button. Let's go now and do the main thing. So when I'm pressing, this is the final product. I'm pressing here. We need to get the button. Let's make this button thing working. Okay, so this is a little bit more work. It's not very much work, but a little bit more than currently. So first thing we need to do is that we need to create a button class, for our custom-made button, so to speak. So project, class wizard. This is a little bit difficult to find this, by the way. I mean, beginners might have difficulties to find. Where do you find? One more time. Because if you create a normal class, you create the normal class from here, add class, like a C++ class. But if you want to create the MFC class, you kind of need to go from here, class wizard. That's a little bit tricky. So there's an add class and add MFC class, and we want to have a button this time. So C button, it's gonna be called C button. And what am I gonna be calling that? I need to look at that now, just a moment. So I'm calling it a rect button. So C rect button, like a rectangle button. Okay, and it all looks good. Just press OK, and then OK, and there it is. There is that button. So let's start. Let's start now implementing this one maybe first. Then it's easy to use after, isn't it? So let's make this nice straight away. So it's a button window. It has everything what the button has. Let's create a show function first. So the purpose of the show function is to show the button and change the size of the button, set the position of the button, and then set the size of the button, the rectangle of the button, that how big is the button. Break. End of the break. Yeah, so for example, if I'm pressing here, we need to place that button at that position, and then we need to tell that what size is the button. We need to show it, and then we need to kind of hide it. When we press here, we need to hide it. So the idea here is that we always have this button existing, but when I'm pressing here, I'm hiding it. It's still there in the memory, but I'm just hiding it, and now I'm showing it. Plus I'm setting the size and the position. So we create the button once in the program, and then we will reuse it all the time, the same button, just hiding it and showing it. That's the logic here today. So let's go and do that. In order to do that, let's first create some structures for defining the button. and I'm gonna create an info for that. So I'm gonna create a new header file, new item, and header file. Let's call it just definitions. Well, there might be other definitions later on. Definitions, and put it there. Okay, here we go. And in this definition we will be defining all the stuff we need in this project, kind of. So this is going to be the information for the body control. So we need the rectangle and the window, the mouse position, and then the text. 3 things. We need to pass 3 things. The rectangle of the body control, and then the position of that, and then the text inside that body control. Okay, and now let's go back to the button, and we can include that file. Just compile this now first and see if it compiles. Oh, it compiled because there was red. Funny enough, yeah, it's gone now. Okay, the Visual Studio sometimes is slow. It shows errors even though there are no errors. Okay, so we need to include these definitions first. And now in this show function, we will pass the information now into the show function here. And let's go and implement that. We need to go to the CPP file of the button. Let's put it here. And okay, and let's see what we need to do here. So we are passing a pointer to the information what we need to what this button need to show, and the size and the position. First things first, so safety first. So we need to check always with the pointers that if it's null, do nothing, don't crash the program. So if it's null, I mean it's not pointing to any information, then just return, don't do anything. Otherwise we need to start adding information to the button. Okie dokie. So now the way I'm doing it here is that I'm gonna create a member variable to store the text what we're gonna show in that. Like here, for example, I'm showing this PT point 121.146. I'm showing this one, so I'm saving this one into the member variable. So let's do that. That can go to the private section, and maybe here, private. Okay, so I'm creating the variable for the text, storing it here. So how do we do this? So I'm going to copy now the solution first. So this is a MFC string. So there's a function called format. We can format the string. So these are the placeholders for values. We want to put a string here. We want to put integer here, an integer here. So 3 things, and this is just a 1 between them. So this first string, we will put this one there. So that's gonna be from the info. We're gonna ask the text. We're gonna put the text here, and then we're gonna put from the info. We're gonna ask that what is the mouse X, and that goes there, and the mouse Y goes there. And the next thing we need to do is that we need to obviously, this is the button, we need to tell the button that, okay, show this text. This is the text we want to show. Please show the text. The call will be like this. It's going to be SetWindowText. We are passing the text there. And next we need to set the position and the size of the button. So this MoveWindow is a function for all Windowses. Yeah, button, view, edit control. Any window in Windows programming, they have this function MoveWindow, and the MoveWindow is doing both of them. It's setting the position of the window, a certain window, and the size of the window, because it's taking a rectangle, and the rectangle contains both informations. So in this case, we will take the rectangle from the info object. So we say ask that rectangle of the window, and that will move and set the size. And the last thing we need to do is that we need to, because it says show here, we need to show that window, because remember that we are hiding and showing that window. This button lives all the time, and we are hiding and showing it. That's the trick here. So we will say that show this window, please. Okie dokie. And is it possible now to kind of test this thing? Aha, but first we need to create the button. Yeah. So who owns that button? That's the question. Well, the view, this white view, will be owning these bodies. This one, and also the edit box later on. So let's create both of them in the view. We go to the view, and first we will create only the button, and we need to include that header here to see that button. Okay, is it recognizing it? Oh, that's slow. Let me compile it. Ah, there are errors. What is it saying? Ah, it's called C-rect. Well, I don't like the C there. So I'm gonna, by the way, I'm gonna show you. So click and click again. I'm gonna remove that C because I don't like that in that name. I'm gonna change that C. Remove that. C means class. It's okay here, but it's not okay. It's not okay there. So now it works. So we create and now we need to create actually the window. This one here doesn't create the window. It only creates the object, which can later on create the window for this object. That's important to understand here, that the window has not been created yet. This is just a placeholder. This object is a placeholder for the Win32 window handle and the window. Okay, so let's go and create the window. And the question is that where are we going to create the window? The button window. Well, the place to do that is on create. Where is it here? Aha, so on create is not here. So now we can go to the class view again, and we can go and find create. I think it's from here. So there's the create, and then yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So this is the place when the view, the white view, is created. This is where it goes, and this is the best place to initialize the other windows and controls in that view. We can do it here. So let's create the button here, because we can't create any of the windows too early, because they need to know their parents, because this button needs to pass needs to tell that the view is its parent. Almost all Windows they have parent windows. So when we click this one, the button's parent window will be this white window, this view, and also the same thing for this one. So the white window will be its parent window. So this is how we can create the name of the I think this is this the text I think this is the text inside the button, but it doesn't matter here because we're gonna change that text later on. And it needs to be a child. It's gonna be a child window. They're almost always child windows when we create those small windows. And we are calling it push button. And this will be the rectangle. Okay, again, this one will be kind of ignored because we're gonna set the position and the size of the button later on, so it doesn't matter what we will here. And this is the parent window, pointer to the parent window, which will be this because this is pointing to the view. And now we need to pass the ID of that button. So the button needs to have an ID because when we are referring to the button, we need to know the ID number of the button. So let's create the ID next, and that will be created. Is it in the definitions? No, it's not there. Where did I put it? Just a second, please. Aha. So I'm gonna put it into the header file of this implementation. So there. Let's create an ID here. Okay, I'm just gonna put a 101 here. It can be anything from 1 onwards. It could be 1 or 2, but let's put 101. And now it's accepted. And by default, this button is not visible. So we will see nothing now, and let's prove that. Well, the size is also kind of 0, so we will, even if it's visible, we can't really see it, I guess. So what is this? Cannot open file. Aha, so this needs to be changed. There's one more, those C there. Okay. Yeah, so Control F5, if we run this, we will see nothing now because it's not, by default, the button is not, hidden. We need to tell that show that button. Actually, I could show this button here straight away, just to show that this works. Let's put 200 here. Let's see if this works. So if I say here show window, let's try to show this. I say show window. Was it show window? Yes. And we already have this, isn't it? Where did we put this? Yeah, there is the show window. Yeah, so we can just copy that thing from there. And if I say here that one, we probably will see that window already immediately on the view. So Control F5. There we go. There is that button. Okay. But we don't want to show it at this point, so we will do that later. Okay, so now we have the button. Now next thing, now we want to show that button. When we press one of the rectangles, we want to show that button. And let's do that next here. So this will be the heart of the whole thing. So there is that function. This is the main function here. So we can remove that, move that from there. Let's start now doing this thing here. So we need to first calculate the rectangle of that button. So where are we going to show that button? Like if we press here, we need to show it at this position and this size. Let's create that rectangle first. I'm going to call it rectangle button. And I'll copy all those values here, and let's see. So the left of the button will be it will be, you know, we know this one. We know now because we hit this one now with the left button. Remember that when we come to this rectangle hit function, we have the top left and bottom right of this rectangle. So we know this one. So this thing, what is it? Oh, it's the left. So it's the left hand side. This one. It will be it will be the right, isn't it? It will be the right plus something. Okay. So we will take the right plus 10. Okay. And the top of that will be, we look at that, it will be the top of this one, isn't it? It will be the same as the top, I guess. Yeah, as you can see, it's the same as the top. And the right hand side will be the left of this button, which we already calculated here, plus some kind of width. Okay, so the left of the rectangle plus 100 I put here, and the bottom will be the top plus some number, some height. So the top of the rectangle plus 40, for example. Okay, so this is going to be the rectangle of the button. Cool, isn't it? So now we already have the position and the size of the button exactly here. And now let's call that function now, which we already created, which is this show function. So we will pass this information how to show that button. Let's create now this information here. Okie dokie. So we're gonna use this old C++ way, and I will explain later on why. So I'm just gonna use the old new method here. We are allocating memory for the information, and the first value we need to fill up is the mouse position in the information. The mouse point will simply be the left button down point, and then the text will be, I mean the pretext. So the pretext, so that's gonna be this one here, the PT. We can put anything here like London, or I just wanted to put some random text like this means point, PT like point, and then the most important thing here is the rectangle of that button. So the rectangle of the window will be the one we just calculated here. And now we need to show that. We need to show that button. So we need to call that this function. It's that simple now that we just need to call that function here. And to do that, we need to use that button class, a class object, and call that show. And we will pass that pointer there. Well, we need to delete that memory because we allocated memory with new. We kind of need to delete it. We will do it in a different way later on, but for now, let's just delete it straight away here, just to show this first version here. Okay, so we should actually see that button now appearing there already somehow. It's not gonna be perfect, but let's see what happens if we do it right now. Okay, Ctrl F5, click, nothing happens. Wow, voila, look at that. What happens if I go here? Aha, it disappeared. Oh, that's interesting. Why does it actually works already, even though I'm not hiding it? And this is an interesting question now that, yeah, I know why it works. It works because we are simply, when I go now into this box and I click here, it will simply move this window because we are using the one and only button. We are using the same button, so we are just moving this button now there. That's why it's gonna disappear from here. So if I press here, we are just moving this button there. That's why it works. Okay. So I think this video is now already quite long. So there's a little bit to still go. So we will do the edit box next time, and we will combine them, and we will be talking about the main thing actually, which is SendMessage and PostMessage. So there's gonna be PostMessage coming and SendMessage. So please stay tuned because this is the main thing actually of the lesson. We haven't even talked about the main thing, which is the SendMessage and PostMessage, because we are calling the object directly here, and this one has disadvantages sometimes. Sometimes this is not the ideal way to do it. It kind of works here, but we will see soon why PostMessage and SendMessage is beneficial in many cases. So we have 3 ways to do it, and we will be talking about this next time. So see you on next time. Thank you for watching this one, and see you soon.